Azure Active Directory or Azure AD is a multi-tenant cloud-based identity and access management service which helps employees to sign in and access external and internal resources. In this video, we will cover what is Azure Active Directory, Azure AD Concepts, Azure AD Benefits, Azure AD Join, multi-factor authentication, and self-service password reset. In the end, we will also share details about a free Azure Solutions Architect Masterclass, which will not only help you understand basics, but it will also give an idea of the learning path to follow. It would be helpful, especially when you're preparing for Azure Solution Architect certification, which requires you to clear two exams that are Microsoft Azure Architect Technologies AZ303 and Microsoft Azure Architect Design, that's 304. For both these exams, you should have an understanding of Azure Active Directory. Welcome to another episode of Azure video series from K21 Academy, where we take you from complete beginner, covering configuring infrastructure, authentication and securing data solutions for the cloud and Azure storage, to all the way identity and security, business continuity strategy, deployment mitigation, integration, and infrastructure strategy, including how to prepare for the certification exam AZ303 and 304. We have taken a clip from one of our certification training program on Azure Solution Architect, that's AZ303, and in this clip, our instructor will talk about Azure Active Directory. So, this is a clip taken from a module on Azure Basics. Let's hear from our instructor on the same.
Thank you all for joining. This is Saurabh here, and we are on module 6, which is implement Azure Active Directory. We're going to talk about AAD, custom domains, identity protection, and conditional access in this module. So just to give you a quick overview of what we're going to discuss, we will start with what is AAD. We'll talk about AD top join, AD concepts, MFA, then users and groups, then we will go to custom domains, identity protection, conditional access, then fraud alerts for MFA, bypass options, guest users in AD, and finally we'll have manage multiple directories. Alright, so let's start with what is Azure Active Directory. So Azure Active Directory, also known as AAD or Azure AD, is Microsoft's multi-tenant cloud-based directory and identity management service. So different people have different use cases for Azure Active Directory. For example, for IT admins, Azure AD provides an affordable, easy-to-use solutions to give employees and business partners single sign-on access to thousands of cloud applications like Office 365, Salesforce, Dropbox, Concur, etc. Okay, if you think about application developers, Azure AD lets you focus on building your application by making it fast and simple to integrate with a world-class identity management solution used by millions of organizations around the world. So some of the capabilities of Azure AD is self-service password and group management. You have a privileged account management, role-based access control, application use monitoring, security monitoring, alerting, MFA, device registration, and a lot more. So we're gonna see what these are, and we'll cover those. So some of the basic AD concepts are identity. So identity is an object that can be authenticated. Account, an identity that has data associated with it. Azure AD Account, so it's an identity created through Azure AD or another Microsoft Cloud service. Azure Tenant, that's a dedicated trusted instance of Azure AD that is automatically created when your organization signs up for a Microsoft Cloud service subscription. So basically there's something like your username at, you might see some domain name .onmicrosoft.com, that is your Azure Tenant. Azure AD Directory, so each Azure tenant has a dedicated and trusted Azure AD Directory. So tenant is somewhat equivalent to directory. That's a kind of they share the similar explanation. User subscription. So subscription is just for hosting your services, and it's act as a container for storing your usage and resources. So your billing is emitted from the subscription level. Alright, so to talk about some of the benefits and features of Azure AD, single sign-on to any cloud or on-premise web application. Azure AD provides secure SSO to cloud and on-premise applications, including Office 365 and other SaaS applications like Workday, DocuSign, ServiceNow, Dropbox, Salesforce, etc. Then works with iOS, macOS, OS X, and Android, as well as Windows devices. So users can launch applications from a personalized web-based access panel, or a mobile app, or Office 365, or custom company portals using their existing work credentials. You can use Azure Active Directory to protect your on-premise web applications with secure remote access. So access your on-premise web applications from everywhere and protect with MFA, conditional access policies, group-based access management. The users can access SaaS and on-premise web applications from the same portal. Then easily extend Active Directory to the cloud. So we have something called AD Connect, using which you can bring in your on-premise users to the cloud. Protect sensitive data and applications. So enhance application access security with unique identity protection capabilities that provide a consolidated view into the suspicious sign-in activities and potential vulnerabilities. So you can take advantage of advanced security reports, notifications, recommendations, and risk-based policies to protect your business from current as well as future threats. Reduce cost and enhance security with self-service capabilities. So you can delegate important tasks such as resetting password and creation and management of groups to your employees. So providing self-service application access and password management through verification steps can reduce help desk calls and enhance security. Right, so we're gonna see what is Azure AD Join. So Azure Active Directory enables single sign-on to devices, apps, services from anywhere. You can also bring your own device, and this empowers end users to be productive wherever and whenever. But IT administrators must ensure corporate assets are protected and that device meets the compliance standards of your organization. So Azure AD Join is designed to provide organizational apps and resources and to simply Windows deployments of your work on devices. AD Join has these benefits like SSO, your Azure managed SaaS and services can use the SSO feature. That's like single sign-on. Your users will not have additional authentication prompts when accessing work resources. The SSO functionality is available even when the users are not connected to the domain network. Secondly, enterprise compliant roaming. So this enables users setting across joint devices. The users no need to connect to a Microsoft account to observe settings across devices. Then access to business store for Microsoft Store for Business. You can choose from an inventory of applications pre-selected by the organization. Then support for Windows Hello, which is another authentication method that you have in your Hello enabled laptop, like PIN, facial recognition, etc. Then restriction of access to applications from only devices that meets the compliance policy. So that's conditional access again. Then finally, seamless access to on-premise resources. So when a device has a line of sight to on-premise domain controller, so it can have a seamless view to, you can have access to both the cloud applications as well as the on-premise applications. So the connection options are registering and joining. Registering a device to Azure AD enables you to manage a device identity. So when a device is registered, Azure AD Device Protection provides the device with an identity that is used to authenticate the device when a user signs into Azure AD. Joining a device is an extension to registering a device. This means that it provides you with all the benefits of registering a device. In addition to this, also changes the local state of the device. So changing the local state enables users to sign in to a device using organizational work or school account instead of their personal accounts. So registration is combined with the mobile device management solutions such as Microsoft Intune, for example, which provides additional device attributes in Azure AD. So multi-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication is a process where a user is prompted during the sign-in process for an additional form of identification, such as enter a code on their cell phone or to provide a fingerprint scan, etc. So if you might have seen my demo, sometimes I log in, I've been asked to give the code that I receive on my cell phone. So that's MFA. So if you only like to use a password to authenticate a user, it leaves an insecure vector for attack. So if the password is weak or has been exposed elsewhere, that's gonna cause a lot of issues. So when you require a second form of authentication, security is increased at an additional factor. So when you need that additional level of authentication, you go with MFA. So Azure MFA works by requiring two or more authentication method. Something you know, that's typically a password. Something you have, such as a trusted device that is not easily duplicated, like a phone or a hardware key. Something you are, like biometrics, like a fingerprint or a face scan. So you can have a combination of any of these two. So when I log into my organizational account, what I use is I'll use password along with my smart card. So that's a hardware key. And also when I log into my PC, log into my some organizational applications, what happens is I'll use my password. Right after that, it will take me to Windows Hello, where I'll get a face scan and then I'm authenticated. So users can register themselves for self-service password reset and Azure multi-factor authentication in one step to simplify the onboarding experience. So administrators can define what forms of secondary authentication can be used. Azure multi-factor authentication can also be required when users perform a self-service password reset to further secure that process. Otherwise, if someone clicks on self-password reset, it shouldn't go for a reset, right? So MFA will come into picture there as well. It will send a code to your phone. Once you give that code, then only you'll be able to reset the password. So that's like another additional level of security. So when we will talk about users and groups, we're gonna have a short demo on how to add MFA or how to set up MFA for a particular user, how to do the self-service password reset, etc. So what are the available verification methods? So when a user signs to an application or service, an MFA prompt is received. So they can choose from one of the registered forms for additional verification. An administrator could require registration of these MFA verification methods, or the user can access their own profile to add or edit the verification method. So what I have done in one of my profile is I have given my text the code to my phone, and to my another personal account. So what I have done is, that's again Office 365. What I have done is I'm using the Authenticator app, which is very easy. I just have to click on approve on my phone, and it's gonna take the Face ID of my iPhone, and that's gonna work. So you have different options available. So the following are some of the additional forms of verification that can be used with MFA. One is the Authenticator app. You have an app, you just have to add your account to that. You will get a QR code that needs to be scanned. Once you scan that, your account will be added there, and every time whenever there is a sign-in request, that will actually send a notification to your phone. Then there is a hardware token. You can have a smart card or a key, something like that. Then you can have SMS. That's what I'm using right now. Then authentication methods are call to phone, text message to phone, notification through mobile app, verification code from mobile app. So these are the methods that are available right now. So call to phone places an automated voice call. The user answers the call and presses hash or the pound sign in the phone keypad to authenticate. So the phone number is not synchronized to on-premise Azure Active Directory. On-premise Active Directory, not Azure Active Directory. A voice call to phone is important because it persists through the phone handset upgrade, allowing the user to register the mobile app on the new device. So if your number is not changing, even if you change your device, you'd be still able to complete the authentication. Next one is text message to phone. That will send a text message to your phone that contains a verification code. The user will be prompted to enter that verification code. This process is called one-way SMS. Two-way SMS means that the user must text back a particular code. So two-way SMS is deprecated and not supported after, if I'm not wrong, November 2018. That's what my understanding is, but I could be wrong, but I'll confirm that. Users who are configured for two-way SMS are automatically switched to call to phone verification when this was deprecated. So earlier when I was using MFA in 2018, I had this two-way SMS. So I was automatically moved to call. I got a notification from Microsoft that they're gonna stop the two-way SMS. So then notification through mobile app. So this will send a push notification. This is most reliable one, and I allow this one because it's very easy. You don't have to, memorize the number. You don't have to pick the phone. All you need is your phone needs to be connected to the internet. So one time what happened was I was traveling. I had to authenticate my account, and for some reason it was international roaming. I couldn't register my SIM card with that country's network. So I had no way to authenticate myself, and I had to complete something. And luckily there was Wi-Fi available. I had a secondary option where I could use my authenticator app. So what I did was I selected my app from my profile, and after that I just connected to the Wi-Fi. I was able to get the notification and complete the MFA. So, but the downside of this is, like, if you are changing your device, you need to install the Authenticator app on that as well. You need to install the app again, configure accounts. If it's a phone, no matter which device you're using, the number will retain. That's the ups and downs related to this. The app is available for Windows, Android, and iOS phones. This is the best user experience that I have seen so far. Then verification code from mobile phone. So the app generates a new code every 30 seconds. It's like you have a timer near your account. You'll see a code whenever you open the Authenticator app. So you need to check the code from your phone, and you can just enter that code to the portal, and it will complete the authentication. The good part about this is, let's say you have no data connection, you have no cellular signal, still you'll be able to see the number coming up, because it's automatically using an algorithm to generate the number. It doesn't require data connectivity or cellular signal to do that. So that's the best part about the verification code from the mobile app. So the next thing is self-service password reset. So the large majority of help desk call, if you have worked on help desk, I did a long back. So most of the companies are request to reset password for your users. So enabling self-service password reset, also known as SSPR, gives the users ability to bypass the help desk and reset their own passwords. To configure self-service password reset, you must first determine who will be enabled to use the self-service password reset. From your existing Azure AD tenant on the Azure portal, you can select the properties of password reset. You can have self-service password reset enabled for none selected, like you can have for certain group, or you can have it enabled for all. This is completely depending upon how you manage your users, what kind of permission they need. Sometimes you don't need the people to reset their password at all. So in that kind of scenarios, you can go for selected and have just the groups that need to have the reset or self-service reset. Then the authentication methods that are available for SSPR. So after enabling the password reset for users and groups, you pick the number of authentication methods required to reset a password. And at least one authentication method is required to reset a password, but it's good to have additional methods available. You can choose from email notification, a text, or a code sent to the user's mobile device, or office phone, or a set of security questions. You have the flexibility to choose that. So regarding the security question, these can be configured to a certain number of questions to be registered for the users in your Azure AD tenant. In addition to that, you must configure the number of correctly answered questions that are required for a successful password reset. There are a large number of security questions. Not that the security questions can be less secure than other methods, because people might know the answers for another question. Like whenever someone asked me for a security question, my favorite one would be, what was the name of your first pet? So I always choose that. It is quite easy for me. So if someone knows about you, if someone knows your pet name, they can simply bypass this and they can complete the password reset. So be careful with that.
So that was a clip taken from one of the lessons from a step-by-step training program on Azure Solutions Architect certification, including exams AZ303 and AZ304. I would like to invite you for a free masterclass on how to kickstart your journey as an Azure Solution Architect, right from learning basics, implementing storage account, virtual networking, and getting certified by using a step-by-step 12 weeks roadmap to go from complete beginner to a certified Azure Solutions Architect. If you are interested, register for a free class by going on to k21academy.com/az30302. Now, the next batch for the training is starting on 27th Feb. So, it's few days after this video gets published. And if you are watching this in future, I still highly recommend you go through this free class to see what to expect in the exam, learn basics about Azure Solution Architect certification, and get a demo on deploying Azure Container Instance. So, k21academy.com/az30302. I will see you in another episode of Azure video series from K21 Academy. Till then, take care.